Don't.
All right. Well,
What's
hey, what's up?
going on? How are y'all?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Good.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can.
Cool.
Y'all hear me? I'm gonna adjust some
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
levels here.
Thanks for coming.
Good job.
Shit. We're waiting on one more.
Already sent her the invite, or
Yeah. Hmm. And just FYI, we are live.
Yeah.
So just don't, admit to murder or anything.
Try not to incriminate myself.
Don't don't admit to things you definitely did.
which we know about.
Yeah. So Santa's pub is
It was, but last I saw a fire at like a scrapyard behind it.
okay.
I haven't heard anything in a while.
We thought for a minute that Santa's pub was on fire, but
Oh man.
there's something the building behind it,
A scrap behind it, is that what you said?
scrapyard behind it is
Never really been behind Santa's,
on
so
fire. Yeah, you don't want to go behind Santa's
I
pub.
didn't
Where,
think so.
where else?
There's nothing good back there.
Wedgewood, Houston area, like right off 65.
Nashville.
Well, the reason I'm asking because earlier when we were driving to get the food stuff,
Was there a bunch of black shit in the sky?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
that was it.
Hey, Cheyenne, remember that fire we saw?
Oh
The
yeah.
smoke?
I'll see if there's an update.
Yeah, they're talking about that.
Oh. So there wasn't a news article about it or anything, but somebody in an East Nashville Facebook group posted about it, and a bunch of information came flooding in. So let me see. La-di-da-di-da. Oh, here's a video. Ew. I don't know why it's loud.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Holy shit. Grant said he couldn't see it, but he's got his balconies in the light.
that's actually what I saw. Not that close,
But
but
Grant lives
further away.
off of what, like 8th and Wedgwood. So right there.
Yeah. So not Santa's Pub, just
But behind it.
just
Oh, 51 new comments. Oh my God.
suburban forest fire.
Nice.
All the brown inclusive.
Suburban forest fire is like
That sounds like a good band name.
yeah,
that's a good indie band.
yeah, that's like a pop punk band that 10 years later turns out there's like a bunch of abuse allegations.
Yeah.
Please, now Santa's very close, but Santa's is safe. So says East Nashville Internet 2 hours ago.
We while we're waiting on Wendy, I'm apparently I'm a sake guy now. I've been getting different sakes.
Oh yeah, nice.
Do you like sake?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
No, this
I got a they're called a tokuri.
Yeah, this man's actually heating it up.
Yeah. My cheap swill sake been warming up in the microwave.
Just like his
Pretty awesome.
ancestors.
Just like my ancestors. You should be here in a sec.
Is Wendy coming in person? Or
No, she's gonna zoom in.
Give her a call.
That's cool.
I know I have some.
While we wait, what else is new?
Ew.
Oh, y'all were just telling me that they found a decapitated head
Yeah, I'll stick her.
Where?
off Dickerson Pike at a McDonald's.
Oh man. Well, that sounds like where you'd find a decapitated head in
Yeah.
Nashville. You
Yeah.
were looking for one.
If you're
Yeah.
looking for it.
Oh, I think it was just the body, not the head.
Oh,
Wait, that's-
I had that backwards. It was the body. Okay.
Somehow worse.
Is that worse?
Yeah, I think so. Because it means they're keeping the head.
Oh, what are they doing with it, you think?
Yeah,
I
like a
What,
trophy.
what would you do with it?
It's like
would keep it in my fridge.
Nice.
Trophy piece.
Hell yeah. There was a movie like that. The guy had a bunch of heads in his fridge.
Hope it made it to
Right.
USA Today.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
What
movie.
is that movie?
I don't know.
What?
Ryan Reynolds is a serial killer.
But just about Jeffrey Dahmer, wasn't it?
Was it Jeffrey? No, that's different.
7 years, but it's for Dahmer series.
Yeah, I think that's probably what you're thinking of.
All right.
Is
like-
there was a
it's like-
biopic.
It's like schizophrenic in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like very
With his face.
mentally unwell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decapitated human remains were found in
The Voices?
The Voices.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
The
movie's great.
3300 block of Dickerson. This is from USA
Whoa.
Today article.
Whoa.
Oh. A severely decomposed body underneath a sheet in a wooded area and about 100 feet away from the body was the skull.
Wow. So they found the head too. Okay.
They
Huh.
don't know the sex of the body, and they also don't know if they match yet. They've
They-
not confirmed yet.
They don't know. Oh, okay. The media doesn't know. I was like, how do you not know what gender the body was?
Because it's a skeleton. The average
Can't you
person
tell
looking
from,
at
like-
it isn't gonna know.
Okay, the average. Yeah. But like, is it?
This specific police do not know.
Women's skeletons are different from men's skeletons, right?
Yeah,
Not to a
It's like a
dumbass.
hip thing.
it's a hip
Yeah.
thing.
Okay. No, I hear you. It's like
It's a hip thing.
you have to like
Both is
know.
also
There's
about-
subtle differences though.
That's the biggest one.
But
It's the hip
there's apparently they had also not at that point definitively proven that one belonged to the other.
thing. I would know. I can clock them.
But internet monitoring, I hate technology.
Yeah, I have all experience with that.
Good to know.
It's like a trauma.
Is it really good to know?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with that info?
What's
Hello. Sorry I'm late.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah.
We were having some technical difficulties anyway.
So it worked out in the end.
Me
yeah.
as well. Me as well.
Well, thanks
Thanks
for
all.
coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks to everyone who read the book. Thank you so much. It's like one of my favorite books ever, so glad to be here.
Yeah, it was a good suggestion. So now that we have all assembled, we can go ahead and get started. Welcome, if you're watching, to the 42nd one of these we've done. We are reading Franny and Zooey by J.D. Salinger. We have Miss Wendy French joining us, and we have Abbie Moody to my left, David Pena to my right, and joining us over Zoom, we also have Mr. Hiatt Collins of
Hey.
Cassette Stress fame. You got any shows coming up?
Yeah, we got one tomorrow.
That's right.
At Cobra with
Yeah, with Karma Vulture.
Karma Vulture and a band out of Chicago called Anfang, and then Paramia. I think that's how you say their name from here.
Yeah,
I'll be
mean,
fun.
just you guys and Karma Vulture's already a good lineup.
yeah, that's a great show. I'll be there.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, we're excited about it. It's the last one we have here for a while, as far as I know. So till November.
Yeah. If you're watching live, come to Cobra tomorrow and see Cassette Stress and Karma Vulture, which is other homies. And yeah, the Anfang, I saw that they're playing another show later this week with Winton, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, I
hell
think it's Dark Matter maybe.
yeah,
They're
yeah. That's
staying,
right. Yeah, Friday at Dark Matter.
So they're
Yeah.
like staying the weekend or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Anyone else have anything they want to plug before we get started? Any art stuff coming up? No? Okay, cool. I don't think I have anything else to plug either.
You guys should do if you guys are free Saturday, you guys should go to that Hussy Fit and Alta Lynn show.
Yeah, that'd be a good show at East Side Bowl.
East Side Bowl, yeah.
Cool.
It's gonna be like a EP release show, so it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah. We got a couple of shows to try to hit up that night, but we're gonna try to get to some of that too.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, cool. Let's get into it then. What about this book stands out to you, Wendy? You said it was one of your favorite books. What's so special to you about it?
Well, I think I was just introduced to it so young. Like when I was a teenager, I read it. So, I mean, most people are familiar with Catcher in the Rye, but this really doesn't deal with that same character, but a lot of the same themes that are in Catcher in the Rye. And I just feel like it's kind of got a better like handle on this spiritual conversation. But honestly, to be honest, like when I was a teenager reading this, I saw like a lot of PTSD in the main character, I saw a lot of mental illness that echoed mine in the characters, and I just felt really seen and represented in that. So I just like carried this book throughout my life. I loved all the other stories about the Glass family because this isn't the only book about them. I mean, it kind of like, talks about Seymour Glass, who was someone I felt like mostly attached to. But obviously I really connected with Franny Glass and just felt, like I identified with her and hadn't seen that in other literature. And so even though like Catcher in the Rye didn't really resonate with me very much, these characters did. And I think it was just like they're sort of like, they were more attuned to like a spiritual inquiry in their suffering, if you will.
Okay, right on. So these are reoccurring characters in Salinger's work.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he published these as like little short things. Like you can kind of tell like he struggled with mental illness himself. So like with his editors and stuff, he couldn't get in like really long manuscripts. So he like submitted a lot of this to like the New Yorker and stuff, and it got published a little bit at a time. And so the other book I've read, which is like a book of his short stories called 9 Stories, which is really good. The first story in that is about the Seymour Glass character, who's the older brother that's, sort of idealized in this. Like now that I'm older and I'm reading it, I'm like, well, I mean, I've read this several times throughout my life. Like I'm, middle-aged now, and I've read it, I guess maybe 5 or 6 times. It's funny going through my copy, seeing the different colors of pen I've written in over the years. But like, how something like means something differently to you as you get older and age. Like, I mean, I appreciate these people in their spiritual inquiry.
Yeah, there's a lot of yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, that's all I'm done.
Yeah, there's a lot of like religious philosophy. I wasn't really expecting that. This is the first Salinger I've read. I've never read Catcher in the Rye or any other Salinger. So I didn't know what to expect.
But in a weird way, what's interesting about it is kind of the way it like scales. It's almost like an avalanche, where the spiritual side of it is like very slow in the very beginning. It escalates in the middle, and then it just goes like full blast
Yeah,
into it towards the end.
yeah. I there's a lot of like of that, like the philosophical stuff. That's kind of I would say most the like primary. Is it fair to say that's kind of the primary theme?
Yes, I would say
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Which is really cool. It reminds me of a lot of conversations we have on here actually.
Mhm.
But yeah, I learned some things. I learned that even Jesus Christ is a fat lady. I didn't know that, but it turns out that he is. If you didn't know that, you learned it here.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. That's in reference to uh
The very end.
yeah. What was it? Seymour? Is he the one who told them that? Yeah,
Yeah.
Seymour.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll kind of paraphrasing here, but they the Glass kids were all on a radio program as children, and they all kind of coped with that as adults in different ways. Seems like it was kind of traumatic in a way, like maybe not at the time, but in it kind of
Yeah, like
it affected them.
like especially like
Yeah,
expectations and all this, and like kind of like the idea of being like a gifted kid, and then
yeah,
like you like despite all their intelligence, they're not really successful. I mean, one of them like kills themselves, and like
yeah. And I think go ahead.
Everything is really performance based for them. Everything is evaluated based on performance, and like she's leaving the theater department. Franny is. So that's what caused like precipitates this like breakdown is that she doesn't want to like live for ego. She just wants to be comfortable being a nobody. But they're all like these like, you know, burnouts or people that you might, they're failed geniuses. If you guys have seen the Royal Tenenbaums, like Margot Tenenbaum is Franny Glass. If it's not, I mean, that raccoon coat or the fox coat and the cigarettes, like, come on, it's Margot Tenenbaum.
Oh yeah.
This is the Tenenbaum family in a way, because they're like, I'm trying to think of a better word because I don't want to call them burnouts, but it's just like people who have all this potential when they're young and then they get older and then what do you do? What is it?
I mean, it's worse that way. It's better to not be anything at all to begin with, and then you don't really have those expectations versus like that.
Yeah. Thank you. Our manservant Lazy is bringing us more sake.
You contain yourself.
Yes, yes.
Contain yourself.
But yeah, so they were on that program, and it affected them in different ways. I would say mostly negative. And one of the things Seymour would tell the younger kids is one of the brothers.
Is he the oldest, right?
Seymour, I think Seymour is the oldest. I think
Seymour's the oldest, yeah.
But he was telling one of the younger brothers, Buddy, maybe. Yeah, when they were about to go on, you need to like shine your shoes. And he's like, but it's a radio show. No one's going to see it. And he's like, do it for the fat lady. So the fat lady's this metaphor. And I love that because at the end, Zooey ties that into, well, Jesus is also, everyone's the fat lady. Jesus Christ is the fat lady. And it's like, that is what it is, right? It's the invisible man in the clouds.
Not only that, but a ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
the shining of the shoes is not something they need to do, like you said. So therefore, it's a ritual.
Okay,
You're doing it for physical reasons.
interesting.
For yourself.
Because a big part of the book, it's not like he keeps telling her over and over again, I'm not trying to stop you from doing, this prayer or whatever. I just want you to do it for the right reasons, and I want you to actually like mean it. It's not really about which religion or which rituals you pick. It's about, are you doing it because that's actually what your ego wants versus doing it because that's what the world is like making you do or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like. Sorry, go ahead.
The intention, just the intention behind it.
Yeah, some effort and yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Which goes back to, we had this conversation yesterday. We were talking about, I don't know if it was you who brought up this pizza with the pepperoni.
what was the context of
It was
that?
either you or lazy. Someone brought up pizza with pepperoni. There was like
Oh, I remember.
there was a Muslim lady who ate the pepperoni pizza, and she was like, they were mad because they thought they would go to hell because of that. And then we had this conversation about what should really matter is like the intention.
Like if you didn't mean to, then it doesn't count.
That doesn't
Kind
count.
of thing.
And there's even a line within the book. I don't know. I have it marked somewhere where they say, God is powerful enough to know intention. Like you don't think God is powerful enough to know intention.
Oh, so you're saying if you accidentally sin. Well, hold on. That's interesting though, because is it negligence like to a certain degree, isn't that kind of a crime?
That's because in your soul you would know if it's negligence.
So if it's a genuine, okay, you're saying there's a difference between being careless and like, uh,
there's a difference between driving drunk, which is careless, but that's like negligence, versus like someone spiked your drink or something and then you went driving.
okay, that's not your fault.
There's a difference between the two.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, but I mean, if it is what you're saying is interesting that if you don't think God can tell the difference between a mistake and intention, then like that's kind of like you're putting down that ability.
Yeah, you're putting down what God is. Yeah,
that's interesting.
You're choosing your own ego or guilt over like God.
Yeah, I feel like I think ultimately the conversation Zooey has with Franny helped her in the end. But for a lot of that conversation, I felt like he was being unnecessarily mean to her.
Mm-hmm.
And to dial it back even further, when he's in the restroom just being harassed by his mom, it's like he's rightfully annoyed.
Yeah,
but he's also being a dick to his mom that like she's it's been a while, but she's still in grief. Like I don't know. I'm sympathetic, even though she was super annoying. I'm sympathetic to the glass mom.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, he was
Sure.
definitely.
I mean, yeah. Oh my gosh, I feel so differently about all these people. Yeah, I mean, they use so much of their like cynicism and like biting sort of way as like a defense mechanism. And yeah, I mean,
yeah, they're all dealing with it in different ways. They're all kind of broken a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, as mean as he is, you can tell he was also kind of like that stuff he's probably told himself before.
Oh, the stuff he's telling Franny?
Yeah, he's not just doing it for her. He's almost like doing it for himself too. Like you mentioned, it's like a defensive system.
yeah.
Because
Well,
otherwise, if he doesn't do that, you just fall into like nihilism. Like everything is shitty, everything is like wrong. You got to kind of like force yourself to appreciate like the few good things that exist or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Something else I noticed is Zooey's so critical of Franny's boyfriend, who is also obnoxious.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But something I noticed is they have a lot of they talk the same way. Like Zooey kind of talks like he does.
Yeah.
Is that do you agree with that?
Yeah, but she has like a lot more guilt about it than he does.
Yeah, Lane, that's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lane and Zooey, they both really goddamn love saying goddamn all the goddamn time.
And they like just deconstructing and putting things down.
Yeah. So it's funny he doesn't like Lane because they're actually like very similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, I was doing a close reading of the Franny part, especially this time. And when we're introduced to Lane, like there's this conversation too, right? Because we're looking at how Franny is viewing Jesus, and she's almost like looking at this thing that she wants to be perfect or whatever. But I noticed all the sort of talk of Lane's masculinity when we first meet them on the train platform, and sort of like there's this idea that like, oh, Franny wants like a sensitive male. But when he shows sensitivity, and he's kind of just a guy that's in between, is what I noticed rereading him. He wants to have Franny because she's like, she looks the part and she fits the part or whatever. But like, he doesn't want to deal with her complexity. But yeah, his first like talking to her, like she's not even getting a word in. He's talking about testicularity. He slouched rhetorically forward to her. So of course I'm noticing this because when I was a young person, I did not realize I was queer until I was middle aged, but I'm actually like a non-binary person. And that just like matters. I don't know. I just read everything differently now that I like look at things through that kind of lens. So I was just like looking at all of the gender talk, right? Because it's like Franny's looking for this sensitive male, but then Zooey points out, like, you don't understand. You got to love the Jesus that flips over tables if you're going to love, you know what I mean? You got to love all, you can't like love with this lens of perfection for what you're looking for in another.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's like you miss that. Yeah, I did really like that part is when Zooey was talking about how it's when you're doing the Jesus prayer, are you seeing your idealized personal Jesus or are you seeing what he actually is?
Right?
Yeah. Say what?
It's like the new Haley Williams lyrics.
What's the new Haley Williams lyrics?
So she has a new song called True Believer, and I'm going to try to quote the lyrics from memory best I can, but to the effect of, they say that Jesus is the way, but then they gave him a white face so they don't have to pray to someone they think lesser than they are, something to that effect. But this idea of like making your Jesus your own Jesus for your own reasons.
Yeah. So many cultures, I mean, every culture's done that.
Yeah.
Like Christianity did that. Yeah.
Side question before we get too far away from this, like focus on Franny, because that's where my brain is, and I'm glad that Ashley, is that right? Your name is Ashley?
Wendy.
I don't know why I thought your name was Ashley. I'm completely losing my mind. I've gotten like so many names wrong all day. Anyway, I apologize, Wendy. Wendy's a lovely name. Do we have any folks in the room familiar with the bell jar?
Yeah, I've read the Bell Jar. Sylvia Plath.
Cool.
Yeah.
I never, until like sitting here listening to you talk about like the ways in which you paid attention to Franny this time as a character, and I'm sitting here in my head like this version of me's knowledge, looking back at what I remember of having read Franny as I was in high school, just a long time ago. But what is clicking in my head in a weird way that never has before is the interesting parallel relation, like comparative point, I guess, that could be done between Esther and Buddy Willard's relationship in the bell jar and Lane and Franny's relationship as depicted in this bit here.
Yeah.
Also, for time reference, Salinger would have been, what, 60, 61?
I think it's 50s,
Bell jar
right?
was
late 50s, early 60s. These were being published in the early 60s, but yes, and they would have been like at the same train stations because, right, they were talking about Smith people. So it's the same sort of crowd and the same sort of like standards, and yeah, very reminiscent of the bell jar. I should read the bell jar. I haven't read that in forever.
We can do it for the book club.
There we go.
We'll do that. We'll get around to that soon.
We can celebrate.
Yeah, so it looks like Franny was 55, Zooey was 57, and Franny and Zooey was 61.
The bell jar was published in 63.
Wow.
So,
to
the best of my knowledge about dates, but somewhere.
It's been a long time since I've read the bell jar, but that's
well, what's standing out to me, so like obviously in the bell jar we have like a very specifically articulated mental illness factor that is part of this equation,
that's
right?
a big part of that.
Also but at in the end of the day, the gender questions are a lot the same, really, because Esther's whole bit is like, please stop wife and mommying me and let me be a person, which is an enforced gender role that she is fighting against. But also the way that she like sees the complete artificial nature of every interaction she has with Buddy Willard. For those of you who are not familiar, I'm very sorry. I will shut up in a second. I'm just really excited. And go read the bell jar, please. Yes, it's wonderful. But like, so for those of you who are not familiar, college students, like when you said similar vibes all over the place in a lot of ways, geographically, all that jazz. But this character in the bell jar is a female English major. So very reminiscent of Franny. Wasn't she an English major? Isn't that a thing? Artsy something?
She's theater.
Okay.
And she's in humanities. It's all humanity.
Yeah, I was like, cool. They're in the same building. So yeah.
Yes.
And
he's
Buddy's
English.
like
Lane is, sorry. Lane's in English because he's talking about it for the whole time.
Gotcha. In this context, I guess the partner is pre-med, but still it's this like presentation of a certain type of in-tuneness and having certain expectations of the people you interact with, because every interaction is lifeless and exchange oriented, and like the same jadedness in the hollowness is very there for both of these sets of couples, I think. And the things that Franny is feeling so bent out of shape about in terms of like feeling the phoniness, to use the Salinger word of it all. Like Esther doesn't call it that in the bell jar, but it's very much the same thing of like, the fuck am I actually looking at, my dude? What? And just like completely seeing facades for what they are and being very overwhelmed by that. So
Yeah,
fun little side
Yeah.
quest for anyone who's interested.
that's a cool connection. I'm glad you brought it up because we definitely need to visit the bell jar now.
I would love that so much. Brought to you by your Sylvia Plath loving former English teacher.
Plath is mostly a
So
poet,
near and
right?
dear to my heart.
Sorry, what?
I said so near and dear to my heart. And what is your name? I didn't catch your name. Sorry.
Oh. You're good. My name's Abbie.
Abbie. Abbie, wonderful. Yes. We could talk about so much of that too. And I think so. I learned about PTSD just okay, so there's an interesting conversation we could have about how more women get diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but men get a PTSD or like a PTSD diagnosis. Like as a woman, I sort of had to fight and argue. Like the first thing they would say to me is like, you have not been to war. But like, luckily I never, okay, we're going into far here, but basically like, okay, so after the world wars, right, that's when we started studying like PTSD as a thing. And so that's what we're seeing in this literature is people, and all the literature I loved growing up, it was because I could see what was happening, like, you know, in all of that. So it's like they're sort of the same, the PTSD and the BPD, I think, in the way they're dealt with in both of those stories. So I love that connection. I never even thought of that though, but it's like this years.
I'm gonna cry on the inside in the best possible way, and also use a very English major word and piggyback here, because I'm really excited that you mentioned those specific things in a very like personal way. That like what you just described, first of all, coming out of this as like Sylvia Plath loving former English teacher, burnout, etc., but also a person who spent 8 years being treated for bipolar disorder that I do not have, instead of complex post-traumatic stress disorder that I do have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a fairly recent turn of events. Thank you, polyvagal theory and IOP. So to hear you talking about it that way, like my heart just stopped in a really good way. Because yes, absolutely yes. I think back to like, so we read The Bell Jar for AP Lit my senior year of high school, which was a joke because small town Tennessee education is a joke, but that's neither here nor there. But we read The Bell Jar, quote, to throw the ladies a bone, because we were reading a bunch of Steinbeck and whatever. Okay, so we read The Bell Jar. And like like we didn't have content warnings in 2011, I guess, but like nothing, no warnings of this might be difficult, like what we would call just common sense now, not even trauma informed, but yes, trauma informed, like didn't exist. And it was bonkers to watch the way that played out, but also the way it played out like for me as a 17-year-old girl with depression because I was traumatized. So it's yeah. Tell me if this is true for you too, Wendy. Like with this awareness of the way we have ignored and overlooked and called trauma anything but trauma for as long as time will tell, especially when it comes to women. Like, do you see that now? Obviously, we're seeing it here. Like, you look back, you're like, of course, Sylvia Plath was traumatized. Of course, J.D. Salinger was traumatized. But like, what other places do you find yourself like? I'm just curious, like in the way you interact with art now. Like, is it as hard to unsee as I think it is? Is that your experience as well?
No, I feel like I can, well, it's so much easier that we have more vocabulary around it now, but a lot of the, like, even PTSD stuff wasn't even studied in, like, the last decade has been such a big, you know,
absolutely
thing for that. But what I will tell you is that now I definitely do not want to promote this for anyone because you do have to, like, pay for this training, but I'm a transcendental meditator. Okay. Meditation is something. So like when you ask, like, do you see in literature, art, like how does it affect you when you interact with that? I feel like I can see people who have a similar meditation practice to me in art. And it's kind of wild going back to this because this constant prayer, see, this book really like tied me in with J.D. Salinger, because one of my main like symptoms that I had when I was younger was that I wanted to pray incessantly, because I thought I was a Baptist, and I thought that if I like was good enough, I would, do all of the things. And so I went to like all these links to like pray incessantly. And so when I read this, I was like, oh my God, who is this man that was middle-aged when my mom was born? Like, what happened here in this time warp of things? I think it's so I see like in that was like an OCD behavior for me to have this prayer ritual. But what I've been able to like sort of circumvent and turn it into is like a meditation practice, which has been helpful. But I feel like at this point, Salinger had, I've actually looked up, I'm like, was he a transcendental meditator? Because I can tell you, like, I mean, there's so many celebrities. It's kind of like Scientology. That's why I will not recommend it to you. I say it works for me just because I'm a David Lynch fan. There are just different things, like we've talked about. Different religions will tell you everybody has a version of prayer. It's like my little thing that works. And part of that too, I would go into is just because I'm not a good visual meditator. Like I would try all these other meditations where you're having to like meet your inner child on the beach and things like that. Transcendental meditation is not like that. I think you can just having a meditation practice. I see that in him, in this, and him trying to like talk about that and the importance of ritual, just in like creating meaning for yourself in like a meaningless world. Like you have to do that to sort of like reparent and build a world for yourself, which they kind of talk about. So, I mean, I see like the meditation practice in that. I see that in like so many do you guys know Britt Marling, who did the show OA recently?
Anyway. I know the show.
Yeah. She's definitely a transcendental meditator. And I feel like the same sort of like, you should check out her stuff perhaps if you haven't seen it, because it's really good. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, there's, they even talk about how the prayer can be anything repetitive, don't they? Like in the book. Yeah, mantra.
Yeah.
It's
tool.
Yeah, it's just a way to achieve void, I guess, and like center. Yeah.
Yeah. And once again, the prayer itself is not the important part, it's the intention.
Right.
Whether you truly like believe in it and what you're like trying to achieve with it.
Yeah.
Even if like Jesus is a fat lady, that's not the important part. The important part is that you're channeling what Jesus represents itself, kind of like everything.
Yeah.
Because the problem with that Zooey had with Franny is that he felt like Franny wanted to like just isolate Jesus as just this, as like only the good, when God cannot just be only the good. God is like the good and the bad. In fact, most of it, because Zoe's like such a negative, pessimistic person, most of life is bad. That's honestly, this is true. For every like classic good movie you watch, 90% of movies are just bad that people forget about. However, you're willing to put up with those bad movies because that one good movie is so beautiful that it's worth all the bad movies. It's just so people are so willing to throw everything else away and give up on life or give up on systems or politics that they focus on the bad and not the good.
Part of the reason people do that is because a lot of those systems tell you to, right? It's like a lot of Christian doctrines would tell you not to look anywhere else, right? It's like you've found the truth. You don't need to look anywhere.
Yeah, and they even make Jesus only good. At least in their
he's the only one.
They will never admit Jesus would be like, even if you're gay, even if you're this or that, Jesus would still accept you as long as you're willing to accept him. And they wouldn't say that.
Yeah, they have their own version of Jesus, which is not
which is what Zooey like pointed out.
Yeah. They talked a lot about what was I gonna say?
Were we switching gears or building?
I lost it. It was on this Jesus thing.
My mom always used to say, if it's important, it'll come back.
It'll come back.
She's nuts, but I stand by
that. Yeah, I don't remember. That's okay.
Did it have to do with Jesus throwing the chairs or tables?
It was something Zooey said to Franny. I'll look at my notes again.
He said a lot of stuff. He was mostly mansplaining to her.
There was quite a
Yeah.
bit of that.
And
Yeah.
I remembered, I thought he was doing all of this from the bathtub, but as I reread it anyway, I've always wanted to do like film adaptations of Salinger stuff. So anyway, I thought he was like doing this whole thing from the bathtub, but just part of it.
Well, I don't remember what I was gonna say, but J.D. Salinger has a very interesting way of explaining things. Like his dialogue's good, but what I really thought was interesting is the way he paints a picture of like things in the room or like the way people do things. Like there's when at the beginning of Zooey, when Zooey's introduced, the way he describes his appearance. Yeah, on page 44, he describes him as the blue-eyed Jewish Irish Mohican scout who died in your arms at the roulette table at Monte Carlo. Which is such a like vivid image and such a funny, like that's so comical.
But it's also so open to interpretation.
Yeah, but what it does, yeah. You may not picture in your head exactly what he's thinking,
Or
but
what
it
other
paints
people
a
see.
very specific picture.
Yeah.
And that to me was like the funniest way to describe a character. Which is like, it's not flattering. Like he doesn't say Zooey is like he describes him as attractive. But that sentence just killed me. I was laughing so hard when I read that.
His face had just barely been saved from too handsomeness.
Sorry, one more time.
His face had barely been saved from too handsomeness.
Yeah. That's another like that's so specific. And I thought that was interesting. I can't think of anyone else like that writes like that.
He word trifle. I was like, if he says the word trifle one more time, goddamn. Which when I was a young Baptist trying to read these things, I would have to skip over the curse words. I was trying to be the most pure and holy creature reading Salinger. It was not working. It
How
did.
could you do that with all the goddams?
Yeah, half the goddamn book is goddamn.
I couldn't read William S. Burroughs. That's what.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not.
Can I ask a side question just for understanding your context?
Mm-hmm.
What flavor of Baptist?
What?
What flavor of Baptist?
Oh, Southern Baptist. I grew up. Oh yeah, I was going to ask you because you said rural Tennessee. So for the bell jar, I had to teach the bell jar. They let me teach the bell jar the week because they didn't have it in the curriculum, but I just happened to be like, I mean, nothing I read, and actually throughout my whole, like even in college, and I went to fairly decent colleges, but all in Tennessee, all the stuff that I have loved and has been so helpful for me throughout my life in literature as an English person who's invested and has even college debt from English degrees, I will tell you, I taught myself all of this stuff. So anyway, I had to teach the bell jar, but I was in Parsons, Tennessee, which is in West Tennessee,
Okay.
like halfway to Memphis. Like if Nashville's here, Memphis is here, it's like halfway.
Like past Jackson.
What? Okay, so we could have. Well, no.
No. That's not where I'm from. I just just know too much geography. I'm the other direction. East Tennessee.
What part?
So I went to elementary school in Hancock County, which is up by the Virginia line, and then I went to high school in Hamlin County, which is a little closer to Knoxville.
But still, yeah. So Tennessee, small towns, and
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in Fayetteville, Tennessee, right above Alabama.
Oh,
We're all Tennessee people.
well, I'm a lifelong Tennessean, which is weird. I'm really trying to.
Same.
So you're from that area in West Tennessee?
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't lived there since, a quarter of a century ago, since like 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I went to, like I said, elementary school through high school in that like little bubble, and then I went to a Southern Baptist college in East Tennessee.
Which one?
Newman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Bless your heart.
Something like that. And then I went to grad school, which was interesting, culturally speaking. And then I moved to Nashville. So
Cool.
But yeah, I'm always curious because I feel like a lot of folks who did not grow up in a Baptist tradition think that Baptist all means one thing. And
Right.
you and I both know that's very not true.
I had a very different idea of Baptists until you started telling me about the history.
Yeah. So what's interesting about my background, so my family is originally from Southern Indiana, which puts a whole different spin on things because that's IFB territory, not SBC territory. So I got both.
Yeah.
That was a fun time. So yeah, anyway, because you were talking about it in that context, I was really curious and like, yeah, absolutely. Like the way that kind of religious culture can affect people in general, but especially teen girls, I feel like brings a very interesting perspective to something like Salinger. Speaking from my experience and what sounds like your experience.
Yeah, purity culture in all of its facets, because it's like,
Oh,
you know, and the like
This is not just sex, right? It's the language like you were talking about. Like, yeah.
and the feminine, like expressions of femininity and what you're supposed to express. And like, you know, he's just all about like not wanting to adhere to like social conventions, which is interesting. Like, because when I was little, like I remember like being on the playground in like elementary school, talking to my friends about like co-living spaces when we were tired. Now, of course, I will grant it, the Golden Girls were on TV right then, but I was like, I already knew at that time, I was like, society is not going to serve me because I was like a little tomboy. I would go to McDonald's and they would give me like the boy toys, and I had like blonde girlfriends. Anyway, I had a whole lot going on, but I was just like, hey, friends, when I'm like 30, we need to all live together because what's happening here is not working. Like, we don't want this, you know? So it's like, I didn't like envision like my wedding day or whatever. I envisioned like co-living with my best friends because I didn't think any of this shit was like working for any of us. You know?
So hard. I used to fantasize about like I would watch older stuff with my grandparents where school was like a teacher who lived at the schoolhouse and then the kids came to school, right? I fantasized, so I was like, please, the house all by myself, nobody there, just me being a teacher, please. That's all I ever wanted.
Yeah.
Back to Salinger. Thank you. I was like, just it's such a specific perspective that I was curious.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think the thing about like meditation that I like is that there aren't all these expectations or like, you know, and you can build your meditation practice out however you want, but it's just like, you know, I go into it like I'm trying not to have any expectations, which is so different than anything. Like anytime there was like we were doing something in church, there are all these objectives and like almost like a bulleted list going along with like every little thing. It's like so counterintuitive to the way that like the way to sort of like help ourselves get better, the way we need to think is very counterintuitive to how we were raised.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't Baptist. I can definitely relate to that.
But yeah, I mean, pick your repressive religious environment here. Like,
complete change of subject.
Yes.
I just marked this example of abuse of Zooey talking to his mom.
Yeah. What page? Yeah.
Page 67. This is just her going off and then him responding. She says, "Sometimes I could almost murder Buddy for not having a phone," she said. "It's so unnecessary. How can a grown man live like that? No phone, no anything? No one has any desire to invade his privacy." Drop down a little bit. "It isn't even safe for heaven's sake. Suppose he broke his leg or something like that. Way off in the woods like that? I worry about it all the time." Zooey says, "You do, eh? Which do you worry about? His breaking a leg or his not having a phone when you want him to?" "I worry about both, young man, for your information." "Well, don't. Don't waste your time. You're so stupid, Bessie. Why are you so stupid? You know, Buddy, for God's sake. If he were 20 miles in the woods with both legs broken and a goddamn arrow stuck out of his back, he'd crawl his way back to his cave." Damn. I would never talk to my mom like that.
Dude, I'm Latino. What do you think my mom would do?
Beat you.
She would literally beat me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, disclaimer, don't beat your kids, but that would almost be an appropriate response. Like that level of disrespect.
No, if that was my wife, I would tell her no. You have to beat him. That is the only option.
He'll never learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just like, damn, Zooey. Like he's such an asshole.
Well,
Which
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, he is. Go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, he is.
He is, and I'm sympathetic with him too, but like I'm more sympathetic with the mom just being annoying than him like being abusive to his mom and sister.
Because
Right?
I mean, going back to the intention thing, the mom has like pure intentions.
Yeah, she's worried about Buddy because she's lost two of her children.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's
Like
like, and he's
show
the
some
closest,
fucking
and
empathy, Zooey.
he's the closest to Seymour doing that, and she keeps trying to feed her daughter because she
Yeah.
just doesn't want her to waste away.
She's worried about her children and
Yeah.
is trauma over losing her children. Like, calm the fuck down, dude. Like, let your mom be annoying. Jeez.
It's all about intention.
Yeah. Anyway,
Like this Zooey guy has been raised on a show about wise kids, and now he's trying to be an actor, which is like how he makes his money, right? He's an almost too handsome actor, so you're sure he's neurotic, right? I mean,
yeah.
you hear his neuroses, but like that's the thing. I don't think he wants any of his characters to be perfect. Like, to bring up another writer that I think does this maybe a little better, kind of the thing that I love about this is David Sedaris, who, you know, if you've read David Sedaris, like he talks about his family over time. His mother was a terrible alcoholic. But when you read stories that he writes about her, he's not lying about that she was an alcoholic. But he writes about these people with these problems in such a beautiful way that you're sort of like seeing through that. And I think part of the message of the book is you can't apply perfectionism to anyone you want to love.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely right. And Zooey's a very compelling character because it elicited that response, right? Like that it made me feel something when he did that. Like, it's a well-written character, and every well-written character is human, kind of like what you're saying. Like, like cookie cutter Mary Sue characters are really boring. Like, everyone is flawed and have growth, right? Like Franny has some growth. Like, it kind of comes in at like the very last page, actually. But I don't know that Zooey grows, but Franny has growth.
But this is part of the point is growth is a choice.
Yeah,
Growth
but
is a choice.
I feel like him
Like
calling,
in that sense, Salinger walked so Parliament could run.
I feel like him calling is kind of him
Yes,
growing.
yes.
He does have like a second attempt to try to like fix things.
Oh, when he calls her?
He doesn't pretend to be Buddy to bully her. He's like trying to pretend Buddy to like almost get rid of his own facade.
Yeah. I'm lying to you for your benefit so I can prove a point. Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean, I personally see myself in Zooey.
I mean,
I've
had a Zooey moment once or twice.
I put my foot in my mouth.
Yeah.
I was really hoping I would see it from a Zooey perspective this go around, but like, okay. And two, another thing that I guess maybe you should, I don't really know what order I read all of the Salinger lore, but Nine Stories is really good. I don't know that I'd recommend it for book club, but like, I've always wanted to do a film adaptation of the story where Seymour takes his life or whatever, because you learn so much about the family. And so I don't really know what's missing from the lore, but like for someone who's just reading Franny and Zooey, right? But like when the buddy phone call happens for me, like I'm experiencing it through, like, I feel like he's trying to just like say, hey, we're still okay. And like, we're still a family and it's really fucked up, but I love you through this way. And like, I don't feel like he's ever like expecting her to buy that it's him. Right.
Okay.
What do y'all think?
I kind of thought he was trying to sell it.
At least long enough to do a bit.
But I mean, that's me reading it once, you know. But that's what I took away from it, is that which I'm like, I get what matters here is the end result was it helped her, right? But he did, like, I don't know. It was kind of shady the way he did that phone call.
No, because the way I read it is he did want to sell it long enough to ask her the very important question of what is wrong. But doing it in a way where like he felt like if it's Buddy, she would actually put her defense down and say what is actually wrong.
I just think if my sister called me pretending to be someone else so that I would give her information
I
that
would
I
never speak to her
that
again.
I wouldn't give to her normally. Like I would not be happy about that. Like
I never read it
I
as that malicious. I
I mean he's well intentioned, but like
Wait, that's the important part. That's the theme of the story.
intention matters.
It does. But so
Your
intent
actions,
versus
your
impact
your
also is
action,
a
yeah,
conversation.
impact also matters.
But I'm with Wendy here, where I always took it as a like I never thought that Franny thought it was Buddy for more than like a fraction of a second.
She thought it was for
No,
a few pages.
It was. I felt like it was
I haven't
enough
read this since high school, so
She thought it was him for a minute.
because I feel like she did buy it enough for him to ask that important question of what's wrong.
You know what else is fucked up too is like it's been noted that Buddy's kind of a recluse and doesn't come out. So she's like, "Oh shit, I get to talk to my brother I don't get to see often." And
is
it's
it a
like
bit or is it bait?
and it's like, "Oh, actually it's my asshole brother that just made me sob into a pillow." It's like it's kind of disappointing, right? Like she wanted to talk to her other brother or at least thought she was going to. Again, the end result is it's a mixed bag because the end result is it seems like it did help.
Yeah,
Is the outcome.
but isn't that what Jesus and all this is about? It's a mixed bag.
It is a mixed bag. It's a good book.
You can't just take all the good.
I mean, it's I'm being very critical of Zooey right now,
He's a
but he is a very well written character.
Okay, here's my favorite part of my favorite thing about this author in general, because I've read Catcher in the Rye. I feel like he's very prophetic. Like he's seeing what's going to happen in the future, and he's bringing it to the past. And the way he's applying it here, it's like he's seeing this like spiritual death of like America, which we're going through right now. Where like
I don't think it took much predicting to get there if you were paying attention.
yeah, but a lot of people didn't do it. That's the issue. A lot of
No,
people
but
at least didn't do it in this specific way. Like
I'm with you.
to give you an example, you have a lot of people who like their spiritualism is I'm just gonna take pieces of the things I like from all these other religions and just combine it and only be like only all the good things from these religions and this is gonna make me happy.
Oh, an omnitheist.
Yeah, so someone who's like, oh, I'm gonna take parts of Buddhism that I like, I'm gonna take parts of Jesus that I like, I'm gonna take parts of like fucking horoscopes or whatever that I like, and I'm gonna make this like zombie abomination of things that will make me happy, but they never like taken the bad, which is also part of like
It's part of the thing.
part of the thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, all that I don't say that like I didn't like it because he was an asshole. I thought it was very compelling dialogue.
You can enjoy an insult.
Yeah, because the interesting thing is Zooey is the masculine form of that in today's world. So the feminine form is what she's doing. What she's doing is just taking all the good from these different things and combining it to one thing. That's what a lot of women are doing. What a lot of men are doing is what Zooey does. All they're focused on is this incel shit of like deconstructing and just shitting on everything else and thinking I'm a sigma male who's like against all these things.
Like I've got it figured out.
But they
Yeah.
never pause it or like build something because they're scared of building something. Like I like South Park, but most of South Park is just shitting on everything else.
Oh wait, that's a really good point. Does Zooey like anything, or does he just hate everything?
He hates everything.
That's a really
Right.
good point.
And
He
I think
hates
the point
everything.
is he's supposed to be an asshole because he's supposed to be we're looking at the full family of like Seymour's up here. He would have been like I think they say like he would have been 38 in 1955. So like we're talking about Zooey who is 25 and he's trying to be an actor in New York and he's coming out of this whole thing or whatever. I think the point is that he's supposed to be an asshole and we're supposed to see his like he's got so much genius in what he's saying. Like he's seeing the future in it, but he's still got that like young perspective of like, he hasn't had a lot of experience maybe to test a lot of the things that he's thinking about. And so he just comes off as an asshole, but I think he's supposed to because they all are, because they're all wise kids. They're all wise.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely supposed to come off that way. No doubt. It was just very effective. It triggered me.
Yeah. Well, and two, I don't know. I was like, I remembered him as being a lot more like charismatic. And when I read it this time, I was just like, no, but
No, because he's charismatic to a very, very young girl.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
Okay, I see what you're saying, to like an audience. Yeah.
well, yeah, because she said she remembers him as charismatic. But that's because she read him when she was like
Yes.
younger woman.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's why
quick
now that I'm older, I don't think it's, I have a completely different view of it.
Yeah.
side
But
question, Wendy.
Huh.
I just put two and two together. In retrospect, I have been using she, her. Do you still use she, her pronouns? You mentioned
Well,
non-binary
I use
identity.
them all. I use them all.
Okay.
But I'm like non-binary has been like the most like learning about. I'm just like non-binary about everything. I don't think that like some people have like CPTSD or PTSD. I think you get to certain points in your life and everyone goes through trauma. So we all have like these gradients. And so we all need to know how to deal with our emotions surrounding trauma. And so that's what good literature kind of does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait,
Uh,
Hiatt brought a baby.
I just got
Aw.
tongue-tied over what I was about
Yeah.
to say, so I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot what I was going to say subsequently. So
What's
carry
your
on.
baby's name?
But this is Phoebe. She's been so there's been a stray cat that's been showing up that we've been feeding outside, but she's very territorial. So she yowls at him and hisses at him from inside, and so she's just kind of on edge tonight.
Aw.
He's been around, so I'm trying to get her to calm down a little bit. But this is
Yeah,
Phoebe.
they're worried that they're gonna get replaced.
Yeah, that's exactly because that's where we got her. She was a stray, and
Ah, so it
Just-
makes sense.
yeah, so she's like, you're not taking my spot. Right.
Do you have anything to add, Hyatt? What was your
Sorry,
favorite part?
I've been sitting here half distracted. No, I unfortunately was not able to completely finish this one, but
Oh, no worries.
But I liked it. I liked it a lot. I remember I haven't read Catcher in the Rye in a long time. I only read it once. I didn't read it in school, and I remember I don't remember liking it at all. And I think I just found the Holden Caulfield character pretty annoying, but I liked this one a lot. And there were a number of things that I liked about it. I mean, one, I thought the characters were really good, like all the things that y'all have been talking about. I think Zoe is a really good example of that time in life where you think you have things all figured out, and he's very much projecting that. And let's see what else. I grew up in a family that was super intense and very achievement oriented. So there was a lot of that kind of resonated with me as well. But yeah, I thought this one was really. I liked all the characters in this a lot.
I think maybe part of what bothers me so much about Zooey is because like reminding me of like aspects of myself when I was younger, it's like at that age is like it's very that's a relatable character.
Yeah, because at
Sure.
that age you want to deconstruct everything. You just want to say that's shitty, that's shitty, that's shitty. But when you get older, you realize no, I actually have to like.
And he's making himself miserable.
Yeah,
like he's such a miserable narcissist.
Because I'll agree with you on Catcher in the Rye, which I read too. He is a whiny character, but at the very least, he has the excuse of I'm a high school kid. I'm expected to be that.
It's a child. Yeah.
But Zoe is like 25. He's at the point where he's at that like middle point where like after 25 you kind of have to like figure it out or like
like come on, bro. You're living in your mom's house, hogging the bathroom,
complaining to your mom.
Yeah.
Yelling at your mom, abusing your mom.
Calling her fat.
Like, why don't you go talk to your sister? She's having a very, very hard time right now.
At least
makes her cry.
At least Holden from Catcher in the Rye is like he's a high school kid. He can get away with it.
Yeah.
No,
because this is just turned into everyone shitting on Zooey.
No, because Catcher in the Rye, Holden is literally Zoe, but as like a high school kid, which is like at the very least you're like, okay, you're a high school kid.
I gotcha.
That's understandable.
if I were to say, like, I would just say that, like, okay, so Salinger was always put in these situations where there was a lot expected of him. He had a lot of potential. He would get into these really good schools, and then he would get like kicked out because he couldn't behave, or he had like maybe ADHD and PTSD or some other behavioral problems. And so he had like his teachers would recognize him just like the character in Catcher in the Rye. You know, there's a lot of like bleed over, although I will tell you, like, I recently tried to reread Catcher. I never liked it growing up because of the profanity, but I tried to reread it recently and it seemed to me like it was like a teenager's episode of Seinfeld, and it is very annoying. It's very annoying, and there's not a lot of like the little nuggets of good that you get out of this. And then too, I question that I like this book so much because I read it when I was young, but also anytime you read things in a series, I think Salinger did a really cool thing where he didn't really he would talk about Seymour Glass. But Seymour Glass was like that character in the 90s show, like that wouldn't show, like he's talked about, but you never see him. And so I was always reading more and more Salinger stuff that was about the Glass family because of that. But like I really didn't like Catcher in the Rye, and then on the reread I didn't find a lot to get out of it. He was like trying to like do some of the same stuff he's doing in this, but he did it better with this because he had a 25-year-old character who could be a mouthpiece instead of a teenager.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, the thing about this, because they're the two older brothers who had died, and the two of them are kind of held up in the family, or at least how they're described it. That the oldest one, Seymour, he was the one who was good and kind, and the one who got killed in World War II was the one who was, I guess, I can't remember what they're saying, but sort of a jokester, happy kind of person. And I wonder if some of the depiction of Zooey is the way he is a reaction to these two people who are now dead, who are kind of now canonized as saints within the family, and they're the good guys. So I feel like that's a reaction that some people have, especially at that age, to be like, well, if they're so great, I'm just going to be a jerk because I can never live up to that.
Zooey's also a middle child, isn't he?
He's like the second youngest, I think.
Of four, or how many?
7.
Seven.
A whole bunch of kids.
That's a lot of kids, but
Still though, he's in somewhere in the middle.
no, but I completely agree with you because we do that a lot. We like romanticize people who die young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I put that really well. It canonized as saints. It was like, yeah, that is like when you have a loss in the family, that is kind of how it is. And
Because you only want to remember the good.
yeah, it's kind of like don't speak ill of the dead. Kind of. I mean, it's not. There's no point in doing that.
Yeah, but then imagine being in a situation where you're compared to those people.
Oh, it's a pedestal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why he has like so much like hate towards his mom, because he feels like she constantly compares him.
Yeah, it's like, why can't you be good, or kind like your brother, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, maybe him being so mean, this defensive system he's built is the reason he hasn't killed himself, unlike his brothers.
Oh, damn.
The cynicism is
Yeah.
the defense mechanism.
Yeah. Fuck, that's heavy.
And then to him,
fragile.
to Zooey, it feels like, you want me to be as sensitive as them? This is the outcome.
Well,
Yeah.
and at the heart of it, there's like a critique of not just like a cynicism toward the intellectual establishment and like academics, and I think like I noticed a lot more of that with the way that Franny's trying to talk about, they're talking about the two different papers. Like Lane has his paper about testicularity or whatever, and she's talking about literally Sappho, and she thinks that Sappho is the only poet that should be recognized. And I'm like, oh my God, Franny, I want to scoop you up and kiss you on the face.
Yeah.
Say that to that man, because I feel like as a person who I wanted to be a teacher, I feel like when I got like trying to like get into my teaching method, like all the books I wanted to teach are now banned. I couldn't be a teacher. I was too fucking like leftist to be a teacher.
It was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Franny's kind of what would you say? Cynic. She's cynical too.
Yes.
But she's not. I mean, she can kind of be. I mean, she's not perfect. She's not perfect, but I found her way less offensive than Zooey, right?
Yeah, but wait. Here's the problem, Alex. The fact that she's not as offensive as Zooey is the reason she's suffering more.
Right.
She's taking it
It's
all
decided
to
to
herself,
offensive.
He's putting out his problems on
to
his
everybody
mom.
else.
Yeah. Because like on page 16, I marked this down. Um, this is Lane and Franny talking. He's telling her about her school. He says, "You've got two of the best men in the country in your goddamn English department. Manlius, Esposito. God, I wish we had them here. At least they're poets, for Christ's sake." "They're not," Franny said. "That's partly what's so awful. I mean, they're not real poets. They're just people that write poems that get published and anthologized all over the place, but they're not poets."
Yeah.
Yeah. So she is the authority on what is good literature and like what isn't,
Yeah.
which is what Zooey does, right? But it's like it's a little bit more. It's not quite at. It's not to that degree. Maybe when she gets older.
Yeah,
But,
well,
like,
because here's the difference between her and Zoe. Zoe's part of the system. He makes art that makes money.
oh,
He's saying these are people with published art.
okay. Oh, that's what Lane is saying.
Yes.
Right. Okay. At least they're poets, meaning they're published.
I mean,
Okay.
Recognized.
because the ultimate goal of the book is that there is a middle ground somewhere. You don't want to be like so obscure and like full of yourself that like you never publish anything that becomes anything. You also don't want to fully devote yourself to being part of the system and nothing else. But there is a happy middle ground somewhere, and that's like Jesus.
I kind of. That's funny.
That was great. To bring up the author's biography, though, that's kind of like a thing that was really important in his life because, you know, J.D. Salinger didn't like the notoriety that came with being. He was also just like considered super attractive, but like he was a super attractive guy published in the New Yorker. He didn't like to show his face, whatever, and then he like became a recluse, and that was like, you know, the biggest part of the end of his life was like, I want to, and so, you know, he wrote all these things that haven't been published, you know. Because of the idea that like he didn't want to be around to see because he wanted to be a nobody, like, which is what Franny's saying. I need to be comfortable with being the idea of a nobody. And I think it kind of just all goes back to this idea that if you're like a child and you're told that you have this like super high IQ and you've got all this potential, like how does that ever work out well for anyone, right? As an adult, what are you supposed to do? Like cure cancer when you turn 18? Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Which is why, and I truly believe this part. It's why Zoe never told Franny that they were going to see her show.
Oh, he tells her
Because
that on the phone.
Yeah,
that they actually went and saw her.
Because they know that she's the type of person who, if she feels like she's being seen, that's actually a negative towards her.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay. So they didn't want to like affect the performance.
The performance itself.
They didn't even tell her afterwards. So.
Nope.
Yeah.
Well, when he sets up the Zooey part of the book, I noticed this go around, and he talks about, he's like, what I'm describing, because like he talks himself as J.D. Salinger for the first couple of like paragraphs of Zooey, and he's like, these are more like home movies that I'm showing you, and he even talks about so that's interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Because like Wendy mentioned earlier, he even the author himself, he avoids showing pictures of himself or he doesn't want to be seen. He just wants the art itself to be seen. So by them watching the act or the art itself, but not showing her that we saw it, it's what the author wants itself.
Yeah. This is a complex piece of work here. Because there's like a lot of deeper stuff going on, explained through like 3 or 4 lengthy conversations. But like he's showing you this for a reason. There's a point to the book.
Yeah, because it would be hard to explain this book to someone else. Like, it's not like you can't be like, okay, here's the exposition, here's like the rising action, here's this or that. It's literally just conversations.
Yeah.
Like Seinfeld, in the sense of like, this is kind of his style is more about like taking like a sort of slice of life kind of thing and not having to have these like conventional, like big
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah,
Which is
and he's
just
able.
apologizing to his editor, right? At the beginning, he's like, I'm sorry about this book. Because he says that at the beginning, I'm sorry about this skimpy little book that doesn't pass as a book.
Yeah, it's
That's
like a novella.
That's a white and just green. Like look at the fucking design of the book itself. It's like
Yeah.
it's almost going out of its way.
Hold on, I've got this bookmark.
Oh,
Second. Go ahead.
it's almost going out of its way to like not be perceived or not be something.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it is very at least
Nondescript.
this version, this published.
Because this is the original design for it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's going out of its way to not be perceived in a way.
Interesting. And that, from what Wendy's saying, it sounds like that's how Salinger was as an artist too. Is he's like he wants his art to exist in a void without him as part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. I feel the same way as an artist. Is like you're talking about the compromise, like the middle ground, between obscurity and like marketable,
Or like
and
this illusion.
yeah, like this illusion of success is like I think you should never. I say this as an unsuccessful artist, whatever that is, but it's like I think you don't ever really want to sacrifice your art for money, which is a cool thing to say,
But
if you're not starving.
But you still want to be published so that more people can not for wealth, but so that more people can see your art.
If that matters, yeah.
I mean, that doesn't.
I mean, I think if you make art, it's for it's cool if other people like it or engage with it, but that's not necessarily why you do it, right?
But you can at least agree there's like middle ground somewhere where you do want at least some people to see it.
It's very valid to want
I
people to
guess.
see it.
I mean,
It's not necessary
but
for
you at
everyone,
least-
but
you at
it's
least
valid to
want
want.
it.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
It's a very interesting conversation for someone like me who's trying to like move out of like having a small food business to trying to do a little bit more art. It's not like I really want to have this big career, right? I'm like in midlife. I'm not going to go to art school. Like I'm not going. That's like a rule I have is I'm not going back to school. But this whole conversation comes up a lot because here's what happens. Because I have the sort of stance that like, I mean, I do want some people to see my art, but like when I'm making it, it's coming from a place that's like therapeutic, and you almost can't even say that around like academic artists, which goes to the heart of this conversation in here where he's talking about sort of these academics and their unfeeling and the business side of all things creative. But what I get like trying to interact in the art world in Nashville is like, I can't take away these opportunities for artists who have paid like, or have like $200,000 in debt to get like an art degree. So it's like, it is that like you need to find that middle ground of, yeah, you want your art to be seen, but also like it's this huge business, just like any other industry that is like sort of disgusting. And they're not going to let you in unless you're like buddies with them or you went to school with them. Like all the like nepotism that goes in, like they know their buddies have like $200,000 in debt. So they're like going to give the show to them over someone like me who has like no art, anything, but I'm making it out of a place, of expression, like of pure expression, which is what Salinger is valuing, right?
That sounds like such a better place to be at,
Yeah.
instead, yeah,
place to be, right?
Yeah.
My debt comes from not being a writer.
Same. And it's also interesting if you take that a step further as like the way we do and do not value lived experience in professional spheres in comparison to academic experience as a parallel to this art school gatekeeping sitch. Because you look at circles where lived experience matters, look at like addiction counseling, for example, and you see like a certain set of rules for the way lived experience is valued and then commodified. But then you look at like most industries really, and if you walk in there and are like, so I went to school for this, I have these skill sets, I learned really quickly, blah blah blah, the end. But where my actual connecting point is, I get what you're doing here because this is relevant to what I've lived in some way. And it's really interesting to see, number one, the different disciplines where lived experience is considered valid or valuable and like past what threshold of quote unquote successful. Also the gender dynamic. And I think that could bring us back to a very interesting point on the Sylvia Plath front if we wanted to loop this all the fucking way back around.
We do.
Because if we're talking about like, okay, right now in 2025, when we look at the bell jar and we look at any Salinger, the like quote unquote literary merit for a lot of folks, there's a gendered component in there between what we see as serious, like existential commentary and what we see as a woman who is sad. You know what I mean? And if you compare like the way Sylvia Plath is pathologized culturally versus Salinger, it unfolds yet another layer of like, so Salinger's writing about his lived experience with these existential questions. And even though Salinger is like, yes, contentious and hot button in a lot of ways, I don't think a lot of people are reducing him down to his gender because of his feelings.
Yeah.
Yes, I would ask then about that. So, like, we all know sort of Sylvia Plath, some of her personal life. What do you know about? What did you know about J.D. Salinger's personal life before you read this?
Nothing.
Weirdo recluse.
Just
Literally
never-
nothing.
Weirdo recluse. That's all I knew.
All I know about Salinger, even now, beyond what like you just said, is Catcher in the Rye. And all I know about Catcher in the Rye, I've never read it, is that I don't even know what it's about. But I do know that it's got like cult fame for being in the back pocket of a lot of interesting individuals.
Yeah. I wonder about that. I think it's just sort of like the outsider narrative. Okay, so second question. What did you know? Okay, how many have you read Sylvia Plath? Have you read The Bell Jar? You read any Sylvia Plath? And then what do you know about her personal life, right? What do we all know about Sylvia Plath?
Everything.
You put her head in an oven, right?
Okay, that's was gonna be my first thing I said. Yeah.
Yes, that's the first thing you say. But see, even when I suggested this book, I was like self-conscious because I know a lot of stuff about J.D. Salinger's like sexual, like he was a fucking like he was one of those guys who like idealized youth. And so that made him
He was an Allen Ginsberg. Got it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, and he would like, and he had these women. A guy who wrote Infinite Jest. I have a big thing about him. Oh my god,
I love David Foster Wallace, who
I
is
do
also the
too.
worst,
I do
but I
too.
also
I do
love him, but
too,
he's also
but
the worst.
He would do this thing where women would write to him and be like, "I love you, I love your work," and they would like it would have been a me writing to J.D. Salinger, and he'd be like, "Well, come live with me."
Yep. He was
And
also
then
really
J.D.
accessible in
Salinger-
person. It was very weird.
Yeah.
One of my professors in grad school went to, she was in a PhD program at Arizona when he was doing his MFA. It was one of my
David
exciting
Foster Wallace. Yeah. Okay. So I like him a lot. I love that movie about him. Did you see the movie that was like?
Yeah.
About, yeah.
It was
Yeah,
so
and I like
good. His
and
album
I
might have sucked, but
I think I have a bias. I think I make really ugly jokes about David Foster Wallace because men have made so many or not men. People have made so many jokes about Sylvia Plath in the oven that I'm like, if I go over to somebody's house and I see Infinite Jest, I'm like, anyway, I have a lot of Infinite Jest jokes, but I
That's
do
fair.
love. But anyway, it was a same sort of thing with Salinger. Yeah. He knew that women, these like young women who were like 16 years old, like he had this really long affair, and I read this like really long thing from the perspective of the woman who was a child when she was having sex with J.D. Salinger. And it was just this thing that like he was this very spiritual person, but part of that was that he thought that because of the purity of children, it gets really convoluted.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah.
So he's Allen Ginsberg. Got it.
I mean,
yes. Okay. And William S. Burroughs was the worst. Well, of course, and then he shot his wife, which most people don't even know he shot his fucking wife. I'm like, how does he get away? He had the best publicist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He shot her in the head. And no one knows. But anyway.
That's what you the Salinger stuff you just said almost it sounds like the introduction to like a cult leader.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, part of that, because I mean, that's why I say like I hesitate to bring up transcendental meditation in any group, because honestly, it seems like it's a bit of a Scientology cult. However, I have been able to take, because you do a training with them and then you just do it by yourself the rest of the time. And like that's helped me. But like, I don't think that's like the only way to get to anything. I think he was like, he just had certain areas of his life. Like he was really strict about his diet. He was also Salinger. He was also really strict about his like writing schedule, and he had a writing shed. and he treated it like a 9 to 5 in the sense that he had a jumpsuit, y'all. He would change into his jumpsuit after eating his breakfast of like English peas, and then go out to his writing shed and write from like 9 to 5. And he wanted it to be, he pretty much wanted like writers unions, those kinds of, he treated it very much like a working man's profession. There's what he idealized.
He writes like it's a job. Yeah, I mean he's a really good author, so he obviously spends a lot of time. Yeah, I don't write with anywhere near that discipline. I'm very sporadic, but I mean this guy's definitely militant. You can tell in the way he writes.
Sylvia Plath was that way too.
Sylvia Plath, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, she another.
Yeah, I can't undo
Amazing
this in my head now. It's connected forever.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many. In fact, like to go through it again, because I actually only made it, I've got more of this to read over again. But yeah, I'm going to like read it with thinking about that too, and other little connections I can draw. It's been a really long time since I've read The Bell Jar. I've been rereading the Ariel poems though. And another thing about Sylvia Plath, no one ever gives Sylvia Plath credit for how fucking funny she was.
Yes.
Okay? She was funny.
It was very funny.
She was also just like, I mean, there's so much more complexity. Like, if anyone ever makes I'll just say this, like, if anyone ever makes like an oven joke to me, I'm like, I'm out. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
over.
All right, Hiatt. Thanks for joining, man.
Appreciate y'all.
you. Check out Cassette Stress with Karma Vulture and some other bands tomorrow night at Cobra.
Nice.
We all kind of bands. All right. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah.
See you.
See ya. Thanks for coming. Bye.
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 So nice to meet you all.
Yeah, we can start wrapping up here. He just sent a message that he had to go, but we can start wrapping up here.
I don't have any word. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean we can also keep talking. But yeah, I'll tell you what, we can continue this conversation, but let's wrap up the book club. Does anyone else have anything to say about Franny and Zooey on the air, or JD Salinger? Going once? Going twice? Sold. Okay, cool. We will see you next month, Alice. Next time we're reading. Can you hold this up to the camera? We're reading volume 1 of Preacher, which is a comic book. We haven't done a lot of comic books on here.
Look, guys, see comic.
But this is about
Graphic novel's probably the word you want.
Yeah, this is a graphic novel.
It's a higher class to comics.
It's a length and density thing.
It's about a fucked up preacher, as far as I know. I haven't read it yet. Recommended by our good friends Ben and Jess Ford.
Isn't what's his name? Chance a fan too?
Probably. This seems very much like a Chance thing.
Yeah, it's very. It gives me. It's very gunslinger coded.
Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, y'all are all welcome to join us for this too if you're interested. No pressure, but you're obviously welcome to join us. That's volume 1 of Preacher. So yeah, we'll put a ribbon on this and see you next